once election night was
Primary.
the primary night was set, you were in the runoff.
Yep.
Did that ramp things up for you that
Most
much
definitely.
more?
Oh yeah. Support-wise.
What did that tell you?
It told me that the people were ready for a change. They're ready for somebody different to come in here and a new direction for the
But
county. And I grabbed it and I said, let's go. I sat down and went through a crash course on candidacy. You know, the message, the way to do it, the mode, the everything, and rock and roll.
But you, like Persis and Doran were trying to do, you didn't win the war,
No.
but you won a battle.
I won a major battle.
But the prize was the war on November 6th. So
November
now you're in a
6th.
position to go to November 6th.
Right.
Okay?
We ramped it up. Every media outlet we could get to, you know, every interview, every meet and greet, everywhere. You know, like I said, press the flesh every day, every single day. I wore out 3 pairs of shoes. I can go buy new ones today.
The cliche actually worked in this election. Nice guy, outsider, comes in, cleans house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's look at it from a different point of view. Everybody's been analyzing how you got there. How is it that? Well, we know how Doran self-destructed. That's pretty, you know, well established. But Persis was to be the next Frank Bruno, as I described, the new face of Volusia County. Now you're the new face of Volusia County.
I am. And the voice.
And the voice.
And the voice.
The voice with the face.
That's right.
I think that's one of the things that we were critical of in electronic media was the fact that whether it was Persis or Bruno or any of the others, I know that someone like Josh Wagner, he was brash first term, younger guy, a lawyer. You know, he's got the makings to be one of them someday. I guess a stronger politician. Well, I don't mean that in a negative way, but you, on the other hand, were nondescript, just run about like you've told me before, boots on the ground. I got it right.
You got it right.
And you never strayed from that mission.
No.
So, what happened to Persis? Was it just that he was?
I think once, I think he was all geared up for a battle with Big Money, Ted, and he was getting ready for the big smear campaign, and you know he's got it all set up, and everybody was ready because they just knew it was going to be him and Ted, and then Ted lost the primary, and it threw him for a loop.
And you remember what Ted said? Mr. Doran said, "I didn't fight Carl Persis." He never mentioned you. I didn't fight Carl Persis. I fought Brown and Brown at Speedway.
Yeah, that
But
was
then
his
after
option.
the primary was over, and you were in the running, then Persis himself was saying,
Now
I'm not fighting Jason Davis. I'm fighting the Republican Party.
No, you need to know who you are fighting to deal with that situation. I never thought I was fighting any other person in this entire race except for Carl Persis. He had knowledge and experience in the county council. I needed to gain that knowledge and that experience as quickly as possible. Believe me, I don't think there's too many pieces of paper in the county that I have not read and almost memorized.
Well, I can tell you one piece of paper that I read, and that was a memo I wasn't supposed to get, where Persis put out the shout out to the membership.
yes, that
and I shared that, publicly.
Yeah, that went around the world.
You guys better get your acts together because I want to win this thing.
And I think he lost the support within his own party for A, that, and B, because there were some situations, and I have it from very good authority, that he just would show up at a meeting, wave his hand, and then leave and never stick around. And it's like this. I don't care how much money you have. The money doesn't buy the election. It's the people, their vote. Your voice, their voice. You got to talk to the people. I know it sounds a little maybe constitutional or maybe too eye in the sky kind of ideas, but that's really.
Well, I believe there was another candidate, Ron DeSantis,
that did the same thing.
Congressman, he didn't have a lot of money, and he didn't
have a lot of money.
He came out of nowhere.
He came out of nowhere, and I think it's time that.
And he was a constitutionalist.
Yeah, and the American people sit there and say, "Hey."
In fact, as you recall, I was at your victory party on election night, and you and DeSantis were the only ones that really spoke at the time.
And Ron and I have gotten to be good friends, and he's a great guy. And he says, anytime I can help you, I says, it's not a problem. I got your number. We'll be talking.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like Bruno, Persis and company, they allowed too much of the Dave Byron public information, the spokesman, to do the talking for issues that maybe the county chair or the commissioners themselves the councilman should have been addressing?
Well, going back to our law, our constitution, which is the county charter, he is the public information officer. He's supposed to release information given to him from the hierarchy. The county chairman talks with the county manager and he gives him, this is what you want to talk about.
Well, let's be clear about this.
This is what's going to happen.
He's supposed to release it to the News Journal,
Right.
and then when we complain,
Then they release it to you.
Right.
Now, you know, I can guarantee you that we're not going to have any more favoritisms here in as far as one media outlet or the other. I'm going to make sure that it's equal, it's fair, it's nonpartisan.
how are you going to keep yourself from getting caught in that trap? You're a newbie. Jim Deneen's a polished county manager. He knows his stuff. He's well paid.
And I met with him, and
his job is to protect you, watch your back, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Right, watch the back and protect the county council from outside influences. And
So what's he going to do when you have an aggressive person, an aggressive media person? My brand journal is very aggressive, where I say, I want these things. I don't want to negotiate with you about it. And why is it going to the other publication? What are you going to do then?
Well, we're going to start working with that. We're going to start, you know, it's like this. The News Journal being the fine publication that it is, and we've got the Hometown News. You know, it's fair. It's supposed to be a fair government.
Everybody has their niche.
Everybody's got their little niche, but, you know, it's like this. Let me release the information to all of you at one time. If we start playing favoritisms too much, maybe it's time that the county chairman's being the voice
Well, let me
of
take you back to that.
gets out there and does that.
Let me take you back to that for a minute, and then we'll wrap these things up pretty quickly. The Southeast Volusia Advertising Authority, as you know, that was a major scandal.
Major scandal.
Mr. Bruno allowed the director, I'm not going to get into names, but allowed the director to take the position even though she was on the board. No vetting, no applications, nothing.
No, that will not happen again.
And then when it got all screwed up, he hid behind Deneen and Byron to you know, try to clean it up. And of course,
when it didn't get cleaned up, they went after.
And when they had her on the ropes, suddenly you saw this barrage of stories in the News Journal. We were like, wait a minute, how did they get that?
No. Public knowledge is supposed to be public knowledge. If we just have to post on the internet, we'll post on the internet. If we've got to, you know, I mean, there's so many outlets and so many medias that we've got, so many ways of getting information out. We've got to find a way to get it done and get it out.
Did Mr. Deneen talk to you at all, or have you had any kind of
we've had
about public records and about the media?
No.
I'm sure that's going to be a big.
Oh yes, we've had our shaking hands and how you doing, and we sat down and he was basically giving me a little Q&A, and I think he was very impressed with the fact that I do know county charter almost back and forward, and I think he appreciates that. He also appreciated the fact that I knew that only the governor can appoint a new council. We've got 2 empty chairs. We really need to get them filled for appropriate representation.
It would be a good thing for you to get off the ground running too, right?
You know, and I'm not afraid to hit the ground running. I mean, you know, when you hit combat, you get out of the airplane or out of the helicopter, boom, you hit the ground running.
Well,
and I'm ready to hit the ground running. Let's get in there. Let's get the job done. I have basically like a citizens government class to go through Monday afternoon, and right after that, you know, I'll be handed issues and legislation and everything. I won't be on the payroll unless the governor signs off and blesses it, but I will have this stuff in my hand to read and to get familiar. So when we do, you know, first time I hit the gavel on the counter, we know where we're going, we know which direction we're heading, we know how to handle these things.
You remember, in addition to the ad authority thing, and the other major thing, of course, was the American Music Festival scandal.
Right, yes.
And I remember at the first debate asking you, were kind of like thrown for a loop. It just didn't connect.
Yeah, it didn't connect because, you know, the music thing, it was a very hectic time, but that's okay.
But you were well schooled for the return debate that we had.
Yeah.
And you passed it with flying colors.
Yeah, that situation's not going to happen again.
That's what I want. That's the point I'm trying to make. When you have a county chair that says he and the other bigwigs of the county, private and public, are going to get together with this emergency committee to make the college whole, and then behind the scenes you got lawyers working to unincorporate. What does that send to the public?
It sends to the public, to me, in my mind, that we've got way too many committees. We got, you know, at the drop of a hat or the drop of a dollar bill, we're going to assemble a committee to do whatever they want to do. And it's usually the same people on the committee.
Right.
So my idea is this, you know, and I've actually talked to some people, and they said, you know, we need to get a new beach committee. I said, well, go and do that. They go, no, I says, no, if you want to be a committee, what is a committee? A committee is a group of people,
Right.
citizens. You get your committee together. Discuss your ideas. Discuss what you'd like to see happen. Do that. Why do I have to babysit it? I'm not a micromanager. This is your mission. Rock on. We're done. I don't need to tell you to do it again. But the citizens want to assemble a beach commission, a committee, or because they're not paid anyways, or you want to develop a sign ordinance committee or whatever you want to do, speak among yourselves. Elect your one representative out of your group. Address the county council. Bring it to us. Let's address this issue. We'll take care of it. And that's the way government's supposed to be.
Well,
The government of governed, led by people.
Let me try to take it in a couple different areas. I realize this is
we
longer.
do have
Right.
a few moments.
Yeah,
We have
but these are important questions. You brought up the issue about the beach. There was a major scandal with the Beach Patrol.
Yes,
Underage girls, 16-year-olds having
Yes.
sex with 45, 50-year-old men.
Yeah.
And Mr. Deneen making the excuse that he had to increase the age because most of the people in the swim were obese and they weren't strong enough to, I think some of these 16-year-olds are stronger than these 50-year-old men.
Sometimes.
With stuff like that, and of course when Mr. Bruno was on his way to Washington to one of his trips and Mr. Deneen's SUV was carjacked while he was parking his boat.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff, didn't that kind of stuff increase? Did that kind of like help you in a way without you having to bring it up?
I think it did, and I don't really know all the ins and outs of the situation there, but my
But as
idea,
far as public confidence,
yeah, it does shake public confidence. And my idea, and I talked to Mr. Deneen, is we are here. We are supposed to be the professionals. We are supposed to act and be professional. So let's start acting and being professional. I'm not going to go up there with a samurai sword and start chopping
Right.
people out. I mean, that's not going to happen. I'm going to go up there. We're going to, everybody, you got a grace period till March or April. Then if you're not doing your job, then we might have to address that issue. But if you are doing your job and you're proficient and professional and doing what the government needs you to, the county needs you to do, believe me, you're not in any way, shape, or form have any fears for me. I'm a nice guy. I don't want to come in and cut people out of the business and make them lose all their retirement, their pensions. I don't want to do that. I would love to see our county government freeze the employment right now, keep our employees. Let's see what's going on in 60, 90 days. And then at that point, we need to sit down with Jim Deneen to make some decisions. We've got budgetary concerns. We've got highway concerns. We have so many concerns. Beach patrol, taxes.
a lot of personnel issues.
A lot of personnel issues. But it's like this. If you break the law and you are, and I'm sorry, this probably is stepping too far out, but if you break the law, you are responsible for the law you break. I am not above the law, you're not above the law, and no county employee is above the law. That's the Constitution.
Well, let's, and that's a nice way to end that. But let me finish with one last question.
One last
and then
question.
we're done.
And then we got to go.
Because this has been a very honest and frank discussion. Invariably, people come in, they have good intentions, the best of intentions, but the public is always suspect. Oh yeah, give him a few years.
Yeah, give me a few
He's going to be
years,
like
yeah.
all the others,
Yeah.
slick talking politician. How are you going to keep a check on yourself from that creeping in on you?
That's very simple. I mean, I've already got a checks and balances and set it. I have a lady that's been working with me for the past 6 months. It's been Johnny on the spot. Her name's April Smith. She's, trust me, going to be in constant contact. I got individuals like Crazy Eddie Calcimo, where we're at his wonderful establishment today. And he is going to be Johnny on the spot. Believe me, there are 3 people that are going to be pretty much have access to me at any time of the day or night. And it's my mom, a gentleman that I call Dad. He's old enough to be my dad, very close friend of our family, and Eddie Calcimo. When they knock on the door, somebody better call Mr. Davis. Mr. Calcimo's here. Send him in, and that's it. I have a checks and balance system, and plus, I don't want to.
Oh, you'll have the media too.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have people like you, the news media, and everybody, going in there. Plus, I want to take a page out of the playbook of Mayor Koch, New York. I'm not going to live in an ivory tower. I don't want to live in an ivory tower. I'm a regular kind of guy. I like to go out and ride my Harley and enjoy life. When I'm not up there in the building, the one thing I am going to do is I'm going to walk down the street, walk up to some person. Hi, I'm Jason Davis. I'm your county chairman. How are we doing for you? and I want to stay in touch with the public. And that's the only way that you're going to really know what the people want, and then keep yourself humble. I'm very humbled by this whole experience, and it's been a wild whirlwind kind of ride.
Wow.
But you know, now that all the craziness is over, the phone calls have now dropped down to only 300 in a day instead of 3,000. Now it's time for us to roll up our sleeves, and in the immortal words of Rick Scott, time to get to work. And it's time to get to work to fix our county.
Well, for Jason Davis, and by the way, I had lunch with Ed Koch at one point in New York. For Jason Davis and his boots on the ground philosophy and that sort of can-do mission, I guess you go from here. So this is Henry Frederick, and this has been the Sunday Conversation.
Thank you.